Welcome to selfdiscoveryradio.com, where the orchard of wisdom is just ready for picking. We celebrate your why, the journey that you've taken that inspires someone else. We support your services, we support your story. Come and be our guest, become a host, be an author with us. Come and see what we've got. Our next show is... Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Choose Positive Living. I am your host, Sara Troy. My guest today is Karen Noe. She's written a beautiful book called, I'm going to make sure I actually have the name here, We Consciousness, 33 Profound Truths for Inner and Outer Peace. Now, of course, when people are looking at peace, they always think it's out there. We've got to go and get it. Pop to the mall and pick up a little piece. It doesn't work that way. Really, to find peace, you have to find it from the inside out. And when you found it from the inside, you exude it out, and then your outer region becomes more peaceful. But how do we get there? How do we step into that consciousness? So let's find out about these 33 profound truths of inner and outer peace with Karen, and take the journey, find out why she wrote the book in the first place, and why this is so important for her to get out, because it is important for it to get out. We do need that guidance, and we do need to actually understand that living from the inside out is actually the way to go. Isn't it, Karen? Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me on.
My pleasure. Conscious living. We kind of look at the world at the present moment a little bit like The Walking Dead. It's there's so much turmoil going on. People have just shut down and switched off and are waiting for everyone else to clean up the mess. But they don't realize that we're part of that solution when we raise our consciousness, aren't we?
Absolutely. We each can make the world a better place if we each raise our own consciousness.
Yes.
Right? Yes.
But people are finding that a little difficult to do because there's so much kind of static, and people are in such high anxiety right now with what the world leaders are doing and everything else. How do they step into that consciousness and wake up?
They must focus on what is going right instead of what's going wrong. And they have to focus on solutions instead of problems. And they have to post on the social media about the positive things that are going on in the world. And there's so much of it. We have to focus on the love and the peace. And the more we focus on what we want, the more what we want will come into our lives. We have to unplug from the negativity and plug into the positivity.
And of course, that means stop watching the news, folks. And stop paying attention to all the catastrophes going on in the world. And I know I can hear somebody say, well, that's easier said than done. I've got a boss that's this, or I've got kids that are that, or my marriage is that. How do I step into positivity? And this is one that is often spoken about. We have so much to be grateful for, don't we? And if we kind of focus in on the gratitude, that really starts leading to a positive attitude, doesn't it?
It really does. We have so many blessings in our life. We just have to focus on that. When you wake up in the morning, be thankful for your bed, for your house, for the heat, for the air conditioning, for the water. Those little things that we take for granted, Instead, we look for what's wrong. If something, there's a leak in the faucet or something, no, unplug from that. And I'm not saying don't acknowledge what's wrong. I'm just saying focus on what is right.
Yes.
When you are going through a negative time in your life, and at one point, I was going through a negative time in my life, and in my book, Through the Eyes of Another, that was 2 books ago, I was going through a divorce at that time, and I didn't want to focus on that. Because when I focus on the negativity, you receive more negativity in your life. Whatever you're focusing upon increases.
Yes.
So what I had to do as a psychic medium, in order to receive messages from those who've passed, I have to raise my vibration in order to be more on par with the vibration of those who've passed.
Absolutely.
And I couldn't do that if I was in a state of woe is me, poor me, all of that. So what I did was did whatever it took in the morning. I went into the office and I did whatever it took to get me happy. And for me, that was going on YouTube and looking at the babies laughing or looking at the puppy running around or whatever it took. And within 5 minutes, I was in a very good place and I rose my vibration. So I was better able to connect with those who
And
passed.
it's so simple. I mean, I actually had what I
Mhm.
call a YouTube day the other day because I suffer a little from depression.
Mhm.
Sometimes when my health overwhelms, and it's just that my body's saying it's a nurturing day. You know, no work, nothing. And I go on YouTube and I look up the American Idols around the world, the X Factors, and I'm watching little people come out and sing like adults, you know, opera, things
Yes,
like
yeah,
that. And
amazing.
you
I
can't
know.
help but smile. You can't help but be uplifted. And this is exactly what I do. I go look for something that I know that's going to make my heart and soul smile.
And doesn't that change your mood? It really
Yes,
does.
yes,
It really does.
yeah. It really does
Take
work.
it
And
into
it's
the
so
main.
simple, you know.
Right.
And
It's
it's feeding our core. That's the thing, isn't it? Is that
mm,
because really, as human beings, we prefer to live in joy. We
absolutely.
are so much more productive and creative when we're in a joyful moment. I know that so many things have been created, like the TV and many other things, out of wars, etc., you know, but so many other things of creation has come from people's wonderment. What if we could do this, what if we could do that? And you can't step into that creativity and tap into that universal energy unless you are in a state of belief,
Absolutely.
believing that you can. But people find it so hard just to kind of believe. So focusing on what you've got, you have a faucet to fix. How many people in the world
Yes.
don't have any running water?
Yes,
Right.
yes, exactly. We want to focus on solutions, not the problems. Focus on
Mhm,
positivity. And I know it's easier said than done
mhm.
sometimes. Okay, I've been there.
Yes,
And I tell
yes.
you, it's worth your effort. It really is.
Hmm. And I think we only get here, you know, when we understand that the joy of life is in the service and in the participating and the
Mm.
choosing to see the sunlight and, you know, not the dark clouds. Um, you know, a lot of people think, oh, you're just living in la la land. Um, no, we're living in a positive vibration
Right?
that that is so creative, right? And that's positive vibration is what heals us.
Absolutely.
And would you say that the world right now, because of all the anger and the angst and everything else that's going on, it actually has an effect on the planet vibrationally
Oh,
at the resonate with
absolutely.
each one of us? Yeah.
Absolutely. So if we each raise our consciousness, we're
Hmm.
the vibration of the entire planet. Because as I talk about in the weak consciousness, we're all one.
Yes.
We're all connected. So if we are sad, we lower the vibration. If we're happy, we raise the vibration. It's very important we work on ourselves first.
Yeah. And that's not to say you're not going to have those sad moments, those angry moments. That's part of
Yeah.
being a human being. But I always say spend the emotion and then move on. Don't get stuck in that,
Don't
you know,
stay
woe is me moment.
right. Don't focus on it. Don't keep talking about it. Don't call your friends about the problem that you have. I'm telling you, it really works when you focus on what you want instead
Yes,
of what you don't want.
yes. And they say kind of write out what you don't want so you're aware.
Mm.
I don't want to go to that path. I
Acknowledge.
acknowledge that.
Acknowledge it.
Then
Right.
write what you do want, but you've got to write it in a way of you're in the picture. So for me, a little mini movie goes on in my head, and I'm the star of the movie.
Mm. Hmm.
In order to
You
manifest,
really are.
yeah, we are. We're the star of our own movies, aren't
Absolutely.
we? Yes.
We could
Um,
create anything in our lives. We could create
yes.
miracles.
Yes. Oh, gosh, the amount of people that are a miracle. I mean, we were all miracles because if you just think of the complexity of the way we're put together already, we're a miracle. And anybody that's given birth knows the miracle of life.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
I think what we need to look at is look at ourselves as the star in our own movie. And it's
Yes.
how do we want to be on that billboard? You know, do we want to be the villain? You know, or
Or
do
the
we?
victim, we're a victim. No, no.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Choose your role, right? Choose your role that you want to play.
That's right. Because we're vibrational beings,
Hmm.
and whatever we're thinking and feeling, we're creating more of that in our lives. So
Yes.
if that is true, and I know it is, we have to be very careful about what we're focusing on and what we're feeling.
But it's also to understand, as you said, you went through a divorce. Um,
Mhm.
it's not to be defined by the divorce.
Mhm.
It's an end of a chapter. It was two paths that split in the road. And
Mhm.
yes, it can be sorrowful and it could be a little painful, depending if both of you agree on it at the same time and it's amenable. But even when there's an end of anything, a job, a marriage, friendships, or you're moving away, there's always a certain amount of sadness and you're unsure of what's going to happen tomorrow. But it's not the end of everything.
No, as a matter of fact, maybe it's the beginning of something
Yes.
wonderful. And
Yes.
I have found in
So
many times in my life, yes.
what led you to writing these books in the first place? So, what was your journey to, I need to get this down, I need to get this out?
So all of my books are this particular We consciousness because it began many years ago. I started receiving messages from angels and deceased loved ones. I was going through a difficult time in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and I just sat at the edge of my bed and I yelled at God. And as I was doing that, a light started to come towards me from the other side of the room. My first response was, if you're not of God, please leave.
Mm-hmm.
The more I said that, the more it kept coming towards me and eventually enveloped me. And at that time, I heard an audible voice that said, Lucia Lucina, Bella Lucia Lucina. I don't know if there are any listeners that are Italian,
Mm-hmm.
but it means light, beautiful little light. And I have since learned that was St. Francis of Assisi,
Mm-hmm.
who's been guiding and protecting me. And for those who follow me on Facebook or have read any of my books, you'll see my St. Francis connection with the animals, the peace connection, and all of them. So right after that, I started receiving messages from angels and deceased loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I truly know, without a doubt, it's not about what Karen Noe can do.
Yes.
It's about what we all can do.
Yeah.
And I truly know that my purpose is not to tell people to follow me, but to teach people how to empower them to
Yeah.
do what I'm doing, because we all can do it. I know that.
Yeah. We've all got a particular channel that we work on.
Yes.
I have another co-host on Channeling Ascension. So this wonderful entity, Athela, just in 2013, just said, I'm your voice, and she speaks through her. And, up until then, her life had been in total turmoil. And all of that turmoil and disruption was all part of the process of her being ready to let this voice out. And we have no choice or idea when that readiness is going to be there. But, we've all got a gift. We are all a gift. And when we're chosen for something, there's no point in fighting it. Just embrace it, because you have no idea where it's going to take you. But what a wonderful journey to be going on.
Absolutely. And if you wake up in the morning and say, how may I serve?
Yes.
The universe will work in ways to serve you as well.
Yes.
I have found in the hardest times in my life, when I yell at God, which I'm not telling everybody to yell at God, but when I do reach out and when I really say, where are you? I can't hear you. I know you could hear me, is when I receive the messages and the most profound purposes in my life.
Yes. Yes. And I think sometimes when you're a person of service, you get so caught up in the service that sometimes you forget about your needs and your replenishment and what you need. And you can only give as much as your vessel is full. So I think people forget to refill.
Yes, we are just as important as everyone else.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
We have to realize that.
Yes.
We have God within all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Not just other people, but ourselves as well. And if we disrespect ourselves, we're disrespecting God.
Yeah. And I think we have to also understand that divine energy it's a massive energy force.
Yes.
It's the entire universe or universe's force of energy. And I think that sometimes that energy can forcefully come through us, and we don't realize that maybe our human matter, this body, can't kind of keep up with that kind of energy. And that's why sometimes you just need to kind of pull the plug, retreat, rejuvenate, and then be able to come back. Because people don't realize how tiring a reading can be. Right? Because it's taking a lot out of you. And it's not that the divine hasn't got the energy, it's your body hasn't got the energy to match the divine energy.
But I have found in the many years that I've been doing readings that I always have to raise my vibration to be on par with the energy of the angels and deceased loved ones. So if I'm angry, upset, and all of that, it's difficult to connect. So my suggestion for those who want to connect with their angels and deceased loved ones is to raise your vibration in order to connect with theirs. And there's many ways of doing it.
And that's actually stepping out of head, isn't it? Because the human
That's
head
right.
will always kind of, but, what if, and you'll talk yourself out of everything. You
Mm-hmm.
have to then connect with the gut, the heart, the
Yes,
spirit, step into that, and you have to feel that energy. You have to raise your connection through that, not through the head, because the head will always get in the way.
exactly.
So what would be your tidbits for people to do that?
Well, I would say just set the intention that you want to raise your vibration. Once you do that, the universe works in ways to conspire to make
Yes.
it happen. And then you have to be more on the lookout for the signs that
Mm-hmm.
you're getting from the angels and deceased loved ones. I think the most important way of raising our vibration is to practice forgiveness.
Oh boy,
Probably
yes.
the most important.
Yeah.
Um, I always use the saying, it's not the snake bite that kills us, it's the venom that's left
Mm-hmm.
behind.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very true. So we're not hurting the other person, we're hurting ourselves when we hang on to that anger or jealousy or whatever it is. So don't unplug from that negativity, as I was saying before. It's important to do that.
People don't realize the disease that they have.
Mm,
Everything that physically goes wrong with them is coming from that place of anger and angst or unresolved issues of
mhm.
fear, hatred, and people will hate what they don't know because they fear it. They fear differences, they fear change, and that's all because they're carrying that fear in them. They haven't stepped into the wonderment of life. They haven't raised that vibration to discover the creativity that is possible.
They
Um,
don't remember who they are because God is within each person.
yes,
And
yeah,
all
but
we have to do is remember that.
yeah, but you've got people who go to church that are
That's
godly, but they don't necessarily
That's a different
practice.
story. No,
Yeah,
no, religion and spirituality are different stories.
absolutely,
There's
absolutely.
different ways to the same destination, different paths.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm not saying you don't have to be religious in order to
Right.
understand what I'm talking about. As a matter of fact, I'm more spiritual than religious.
Yes.
So
And actually, scientifically, it's been proven that people that live in a spiritual realm are people
mhm,
that are living on a higher frequency, a higher vibration that
mhm,
resonates more in a creative frequency. So science is now finally caught up, and spirituality isn't all this woo-woo kumbaya stuff.
right.
That they realize that it is an energy that people
Mhm.
live in that actually creates so much more because it once you do raise that vibration, it is so creative, isn't it?
Oh, it absolutely is. We could create, if we realize who we are, the power within us, we could create miracles in our life.
Yes, yes, and
And
we're all capable of that.
the only difference between someone who is creating miracles in their lives and another person is the one who is creating miracles knows who they are.
Hmm.
They know that God is within them.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a certain kind of camaraderie, isn't there? A little partnership with God you've got there that, that you're never alone, never
Mm-hmm.
ever alone. And no matter if you get into those sad moments, that's just a phase. No matter what's going on, I mean, it doesn't stop life from happening to you. But
Exactly.
the empowerment and the love that you get from that partnership is something that you know that you will be able to cope with whatever's given to you because you're not alone, and you will be given the wisdom, the tools, the strength, and the courage to do so.
You just have to plug into that energy.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you, but I'd rather plug into the positive and God rather than the negative. And once you do that, your whole life changes.
Yes, there's something about watching something either on YouTube or Facebook or of somebody going out of the way. I don't know if you've seen that one of this guy, swimming across the ice to rescue a dog that's fallen in,
Yes.
and or people going into the rushed waters, trying to save an animal, and people coming together to save something as small as a little kitten, and that is really what humanity is about. That's what we're meant to be, isn't it?
It
That's the
sure is.
vibration we want to work on.
Absolutely. And when we do something like that, we feel wonderful.
Yeah,
When we're saving a cat or a dog or a cow,
yeah,
if you
yes,
don't decide not to eat
you're
a
right.
cow, you're saving a life. And in reality, we're all one. And those animals are a part of who we are. Everyone is a part of who we are. So when we do good to
Yeah.
someone else or something else, we help ourselves as well.
I don't think people realize that we are all energy and frequency. We're water, and water is conduit. Energy runs through every single one of us. Every single one of us could have a mathematical equation of our energy frequency. And that's the entire universe. We're made up of the universe. So for us to be connected to the universe, to the divine presence, as my one friend calls it, Gus, God, universe, spirit, which I think is wonderful. So when we're gussing, we truly actually understand that beautiful vibration and that frequency that runs through all of us, and kind of getting into those good vibrations is something that then has a beautiful ripple effect, isn't it? So if you wanted to be positive, do positive things and be around positive people, and you'll see that you're creating a song and dance here that everyone wants to get up to.
And when you change yourself, when we each change ourselves to be more positive, then those negative people will either not hang around us anymore, or we will uplift them as well. So when you change, so does everyone else around you change as well.
And you're not responsible for anyone else around you. You're
No.
only responsible for you.
Right.
Yeah.
We have to remember that.
Yeah, exactly. And, we talk about being in service. And, for me, it's always been about soul connection, my entire existence for the last few thousand years. And that is what I'm here to do. And of course, I did in past lives do it at the sacrilege of myself and everything else. And I think this lifetime was to remind me to connect back to me and replenish me. And it's, you talk about talking to people that have crossed over, ascended. They've just left the vessel. But we all have had many, many lifetimes, haven't we? And every lifetime we have, that knowledge goes with us when we ascend, and then it comes back in again. So people will get these deja vu moments, or they'll get this is familiar, or I know this and I don't know how. This is just a recall of a past life's knowledge, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Because the energy of who we are doesn't begin and it doesn't end. It just continues. And we evolve and we grow and we learn things after we pass too. And then we come back and we decide, I have to learn compassion this time around.
Yeah.
And we live a life where we should learn, where we're actually dealing with events where it's hard or difficult to experience compassion. I'm trying to think of an example, but you know what I mean.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think the compassion is the saving of an animal, putting yourself out there, being compassionate amongst other people's pain, understanding that pain, and helping them through it. But again, the big word choice. The show is choose positive living. The choice to not be in the pain. Now, you could be in physical pain, that is the body inflicted. Don't forget, we've all signed the soul contract, haven't we? We've all come here for a particular experience. And if you've come here to have a physical experience, which my lifetime definitely has been that, I'm obviously here for, to heal the body. I think my entire lifetime here was about the healing, getting back to spirit. We've actually got to start paying attention to, okay, if I've been dealt this hand of cards, what is it for? What am I meant to do with it? And not the why me, it's what am I meant to learn from this? What is meant to come out of this? And if we ask those kind of questions and we go deeper into ourselves, it's really quite astounding the things that we learn.
Absolutely. If we're dealt with an illness or something, we're mind, body, spirit, and on some level we've created that, and we didn't do it on purpose.
Right.
Not that we created an illness, we wanted this disease, but whether it is the universe telling us to slow down or our higher self telling us we need to slow down, whatever it is. So we can embrace it and we have to learn from it, or we could actually create miracles and heal from it as well.
Yeah.
And I've seen amazing miracles. With my clients around me and all of that, they have healed from cancer and stage 4 cancer, stage 3 multiple myeloma. They couldn't get pregnant. They got pregnant. All of that, by changing their thoughts, they were able to heal their body, mind, and spirit.
Yeah. It's changing that frequency running through the body, because we have to keep that flow. The body
Exactly.
needs flow, doesn't it? And when you're in pain or anguish or fear, you're
Mhm.
blocking that energy. And when you release that and that energy runs through your whole body like a current, it keeps
Mhm.
everything going. So, yeah. I mean, when we talk like this, it sounds so simple. But how does it work? And sometimes just don't worry about how it works. Just
Right.
do, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Focus on how good you would feel if you were healed. What would you feel like? Feel the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Feel it. That's what all the great masters talked about.
Hmm.
That
Yes.
faith, and if you could really feel that, even for a few minutes, it's a done deal.
Yeah.
It really is.
Now I see you're definitely a Wayne Dyer fan.
I was a fan, and now I'm actually speak to him through the We Consciousness with the.
Wonderful, because I mean Wayne is one of those ones that definitely did speak to me. There was a beautiful kind of flawedness in him, of
Yeah.
vulnerability, of
Yes.
recognizing his humanness and
Yes.
and his spiritual work. And I do know somebody who works with people on the other side, so to speak, even going back to the 15th century,
Mm.
and has literally created a whole new innovation through that connection. And people think that, when you're dead, that's it. No, it isn't. End of vessel. Vessel goes. Spirit
Exactly.
doesn't. And so many choose to stay, in within reach, so to speak. They don't
Mhm.
ascend to higher dimensions out of our reach. They stay within reach because they continue their work. Now, probably even more powerful because they can come through people like you.
Exactly. And through everybody. It's not just,
Yes,
Lynn is not just coming through to me, but he's coming through to many people, whoever wants to hear from him.
right.
You just
Yes.
have to learn how to receive messages. That's
That's
all.
just opening up the channel, isn't it?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So you have to open up your channel and step out of mind, because the
Hmm.
mind will always go, I don't believe this. Where's the
And
proof?
you won't. Right.
Yeah.
You won't be able to do it.
So
Whatever
get
you're
out,
saying,
get
you
out
can
of that.
do, right? I can't do it. You won't.
No,
Right.
exactly. Exactly. You've already just shut the door,
Right.
and it's, don't be so rude. There's people on the other side of that door knocking.
Right.
Be courteous.
That's
Open up
true.
that door, invite them in, make them a cup of tea.
Yeah.
um, of course, immediately through the years, it's been about, it must be the dark entities coming for you. The devil is coming for you. If you're in a higher vibration, they have no entry.
When you turn on the light, the darkness goes away.
Yeah, yeah. And you
Simple as
turn
that.
off the fear. I mean,
Right.
what they thrive on is that fear, right?
Exactly.
There's always negative forces, and those negative forces, if you're living in fear and terror, then you're the perfect victim for them. If you're on a higher vibration and you're in a place of love, they can't reside there, right?
Exactly. Perfectly said. That's right.
Stepping into love,
Hmm.
again, that is something everybody looks to. I'm not loved enough, or I don't love this and I don't love that. But again, going back to gratitude, I think leads to love. I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful I have the ability to do this. I'm grateful that I can speak my mind. I'm grateful for this or that. Then you're actually stepping into that gratitude of, I love my life. I love what I do. I love who I am. I love what I represent. And
Hmm.
it's got to come from a place of being grateful for who you are first, isn't it?
Of course. Absolutely. It begins within. You project onto the world whatever you feel about yourself.
A lot of people, of course, have to undo all that conditioning, though, all that
Mm.
patterning
Yeah.
from past, that old treadmill going on, and the hearing of, you're not worthy, you're not this, you're not
Mhm.
that. um, how would you suggest people start switching that off and start letting that divine consciousness come through to them, and let the old patterning dialogue disappear?
I would say, how about saying affirmations in the morning? I am significant. I
Mm.
am worth. I am divine. All of that. And you say it and you fake it until you make it. And
Yes.
you're saying, and then all of a sudden you feel it. Yes, I am. I am significant.
Mhm.
Yes, I am worthy. Even though if you don't believe it at first, say it often enough, you will believe it.
I think actually even being around puppies, kittens, or children is
I
a
know.
great idea, because
Yes.
They are such beautiful divine spirits that has not yet been programmed or conditioned, right? They're just this ball of beautiful love. And
Right.
if you're around them, it brings out the inner child in you. Go and get
Mhm.
goofy with a kid or with a puppy, little kitten, or anything that's young and innocent. That
Mhm.
they live purely in that divine energy all the time.
Absolutely. That's why if you're not feeling well,
Yeah,
you're feeling depressed, go pick up a cat. Makes you feel better
yeah,
because of what you're saying.
yeah, yeah. It's you can't help but your heart be switched on with that love that's around you because they're pure love. They
Right.
really are. So living positively is for definitely raising that consciousness and raising that vibration.
Mm-hmm.
But the breakdown of the 33
Mm-hmm.
points there, what would they, I mean, it's hard for you to break them down right now, but what would be some of those inner truths that you would talk about
Okay.
that are
The
those
most,
profound things?
I would say the most important truth is concept one. It's the most, is that we're all one. And
Mm-hmm.
our oneness encompasses everything and everyone, including God, the angels, ascended masters, enlightened beings from other areas of the universe, deceased loved ones, animals, and nature.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't feel that oneness until we leave this vessel.
Yes.
And then we say, now I understand. You can't understand because you're over there, I'm over here. We feel like we are separate. This body separates
Yeah.
us. And so the only way to really grasp this concept is to meditate, quiet your thoughts, but when you leave the body, you will absolutely feel and know this is a fact.
And
And I just suggest everyone to understand that right now, because when you do that, as we said before, when you rescue an animal, when you do something like that, don't you feel good?
yeah.
Why is that? Because
Mm-hmm.
you're helping yourself as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, service isn't about sacrilege of sacrifice of yourself or servitude,
Oh, no.
right? Uh, Being of service is that you can only give as much as you have. So the more you have, the more you can give. So let your cup runneth over.
Yeah.
Fill yourself with all that beautiful divine love so that you do have more to give, but understand when it is time to replenish. Um, we are all one. We're all made up of the same thing. Every single particle of us has this divine connection. And I think one of the issues that humans have is they're not attached to their beingness.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The beingness is I am part of the universe, I am God, I am love, I am truth. And then we separate our humanness. So when we become the human being and become that one with the universe and with love and with everything, then I think we truly get it. But
Yes,
there's still that separation going on, and that's where we need to bring people into themselves.
exactly. And when Wayne Dyer was here on the planet, he used to affirm, I am this, I am divine, all of that. And through the channelings, I received messages for his family, and for over a few years, almost 3 times a week, maybe more. And in the book itself, in the We Consciousness, in the back of the book, they all shared what they wanted to share because they're very personal messages that I certainly wouldn't know.
Right.
I'm really speaking to Wayne. But one of the channelings that he spoke to was about we are, instead of saying I am, it's we are.
Yeah.
We are. We
Yes.
are divine. We are love. We are abundant.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something he didn't realize when he was here on planet Earth. He said, I am. But by saying I am, you're saying you are not.
True, very true. And I think perhaps you need to do an I am until you understand you could be a part of the we. Because,
Yeah, that makes sense.
it's,
Yeah.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
always referring
Yeah.
it to an orchestra. Know your
Mm-hmm.
instrument. Know how to play your
That's what
instrument.
I'm
And when
saying.
you've played it well, you bring it to the orchestra and then you become part of that collective orchestra. That's a beautiful symphony. But I
Said.
think the I am is in discovery of self. And then
Yes.
when you're in discovery of self and you realize you are part of that vibration, you are
Mhm.
part of the we, so we are. So I
Yes.
think that's part of the journey. And he ascended to discover that. And
Right.
we can discover that now. We don't have to wait until we ascend, folks.
That's right. That's right.
The other thing is is to start looking at ourselves as different. So we come in different color vessels, just like cars do. There's different
Mhm.
makes, there's different colors, there's different performances. Each one of us in this vessel of life, we're in it for a reason. And whether you're black, white, pink, yellow, polka dot, or whatever nationality, we are
Mhm.
still all one. We're still part of this
Yeah,
beautiful global village. And the more we actually rise up to meet that beautiful vibration, the more we actually heal each other around the world and also calm and heal the planet.
that's right. That's right. I
So it's
can't comment
essential.
on that. You said it perfectly.
It's essential that we rise up, right?
Yes.
We know there's problems going on. We know that there's droughts happening in the world. If we
Mhm.
raise up with our vibration and not the discord, not the hate, not the fear, not the segregation, but in unison, we will actually, the universe will always give us what we need. But we've
Yes.
got to rise up, as you said, to meet it in good
Exactly.
intent, in loving intent.
Right. And again, when we focus on what we want, that's what we receive. If we focus on what we don't want, that is what we receive.
Yes. Yes.
We have to
And
focus
it's
on
not like, I want a tall, dark and handsome guy and a rich,
I have
it's,
a funny story to share with you, if I may.
yes.
One of my clients, and she said I could share her story. It's a funny one. She came to see me and she said, I am destined to be alone the rest of my life. I will never meet anybody. I said, well, if you say that, that's true.
Yeah.
I said, why don't you do a vision board? Now, what a vision board is, you put on the vision board everything you want to create and all of that. All she put on the vision board, she sent me an email the next day, was a very cute gentleman from a magazine.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm trying, a male model. Very,
Right.
and she sent it to me. And I said, that's all you're putting on it? Don't you want, loves me unconditionally? I love him unconditionally. And she said, no, because if he looks like that, I don't care.
Wow.
Well, a week later, you know what I'm going to say. She said, Karen, this really works. I can't believe this. Then she told me this story, and I was blown away. She said she joined Match.com, and this gentleman contacted her. And as they were talking, she asked him what he does for a living, and he said he was a male model. And she asked him what did he model. He was the very same person that she put on her vision board. Now, what do you think I'm going to say? A few days later, she said he was a jerk. And I said, well, you got what you asked for. You just want
Exactly.
to do like that. So I said, do another vision board and put on it, loves me unconditionally. I love him unconditionally. And he's available. You don't want a married man,
No.
all of that. So she did all of that. And shortly afterwards, she got the most perfect man. She brought him to one of her appointments, and I met him. He's wonderful. So the universe works in ways to conspire to make things happen. And if you
Yes.
ask for something, you will get it. So
Yes.
fine tune what you want
Yes.
in life.
Please articulate what you
Right.
want. Read the fine print. Yeah.
Right. Really think about it.
Yes.
You
I
want
did
to
a
keep
vision
life?
board 18 years ago, and a friend of mine saw it, and it had my older friends there with new friends over here.
Okay.
And it had my husband with his hand over his mouth. Say he's got nothing to say to me anymore. And then it had, a whole load of other things. And it was interesting. Her reaction to it is that, oh, you're going to get rid of me, so I'm going to get rid of you first.
Oh,
I know it was really weird, really weird. And in a lot of parts, yes, that vision board has come true. I think I've still got it in storage, crumbled up somewhere, but it's time for a new vision board. But they do work. I mean,
gosh.
and you really do have to be very careful, not only what you're asking for, but in the tone and the intent in the way
Oh,
you're asking for it,
absolutely.
right?
It's
Yeah.
crazy. What you put on there, you will receive. And it's something about looking at something every day goes into your subconscious.
Hmm.
And that shows you that we're vibrational beings that attract like unto us ourselves. So whatever we're thinking and feeling, oh yes, I have this perfect partner. Oh yes, I am abundant. I am healthy, whatever it is. That attracts. That's
Hmm.
attractive in your life.
I think it's also, don't just put out what you think you want. Put out how
Yeah.
you want to feel. You know,
That's it.
right?
Exactly. The
Because
bottom line is we all want to be happy.
exactly, exactly. And it's like, you want somebody that's going to make you smile, that's going to make you feel safe, that you know that you can admire and respect, that they admire and respect you. And that love is based on a core value, a core love, a core understanding, and that there isn't kind of the agendas other than being together. And
Mm.
I think, you know, for me, it's little mini movies constantly going on in my life, little scenarios of what I wouldn't mind happening in my life. And it's up into the event. Choose which one. I don't care. I'll be happy with any one of these.
And if
Um,
you could feel it, it's a
oh,
done deal.
yes. Yes, exactly. It hasn't yet happened because I think I had to move around a bit. I've just recently
Okay.
moved to a new city. And so it's still getting myself established. But I think something is definitely going to happen this year. I mean, my tide has turned. And that's the other thing, too. Just because you've vision boarded or you've spoken about it doesn't mean it's going to be the Amazon delivery there tomorrow. You
Right.
know, it doesn't work that way. You've got to realize that there's a synchronicity that has to happen, and something's happening in their lives and something's happening in your life, and it's got to be at a point where the two of you can then come together at the right time. And
Right.
sometimes it's not time. We have to remember that the universe doesn't work on a clock. It doesn't
Exactly.
work on a time. It just brings things to connected when the connection's ready to be made. And
In
that
perfect
could be a
divine order.
lapse of time here on Earth, right?
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
universal time, not our time.
Right. But if we can imagine it happening and feeling it happening right at this moment and feel it so strongly, it can happen right away.
Yes.
But as you're saying, if that person is not available now, maybe if you're looking into for a relationship. I know of a woman who actually wrote down everything she wanted in a relationship, and it happened 4 or 5 years after that. And the
Yes.
reason being is the person who came into her life was at that time married, and then his wife passed away. He wasn't available at that time, as
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
So perfect divine order was 4 years later,
Yeah.
and now
Yes.
we're very happy together.
And it's also, you know, what you need at the time. I mean, I left my husband in 2000, coming up to 18 years now. And
Mhm.
I was single for 5 years. I didn't even date anyone. I was just enjoying rediscovery of self, you know.
Mhm.
And then I did meet someone, but I actually had met him 4 years prior,
Oh,
and with the dog and conversation at the coffee bar. And then we kind of became business partners, then became lovers, and then kind of took this really roller coaster journey where our actual relationship did not survive. But
mhm.
ended up being a different type of relationship. And because of him, I have a radio station. He believed in me. He put me on my path because he kept pushing
That's
me. So he was there for that. He wasn't there to be, you know, the soulmate. He is a soulmate, a
right,
different type of soul, right? For a different purpose. He wasn't
right.
meant to be the love soulmate, you know, for the rest of my life. But this is the thing, is that people will come into your life and think, well, I don't know what happened. They were there at that
Mhm.
time to help you change course, to come into your beingness. And
Yeah,
then their journey with you is either over, or on that level is over. And it's time to take who you are now and move forward with it.
yes, yes. You wouldn't have, right. I mean, because
Yeah.
of him, you are where you are now. So,
Yes, exactly. And this is the thing, is we all want a happy ever after, don't we? Riding off into the sunset. And you know, sometimes it's just not meant to be designed that way. And
right.
you know, and maybe
And
it's
we
only
all
a short
change.
period. Hmm?
We do change. We change, and then
Yes.
the other person changes. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And of course the thing is, if you are seeking love, what do you have to do first? But love yourself.
Right. It always goes back to that.
Hmm. It
Loving
does.
oneself is a prerequisite to
Yes.
creating peace outside of yourself. So,
Yes,
absolutely.
exactly. If you think you're flawed or there's something wrong with you, then somebody else is going to think that too. So we have to look at ourselves with all, you know, our bumps and droops and lines and flaws, and just go, I am beautiful in that. This
Yeah.
is what makes me who I am. And if I love me in all of my package, no matter what it is, someone else is going to love me in that vibration as well.
Yes. Perfectly said.
Well, of course, Hollywood would tell you that you have to be a perfect this and a perfect that and perfect
And
skin.
those people are not happy. If they
Oh
are
no,
all perfect, they have the perfect body, the perfect face. But what happens to them? They're not. Not all of them are happy.
no, no. I just did a wonderful show with a gentleman yesterday, Darcy Murdoch, who was a double lung transplant. But he's a singer, he's a crooner, and he sings the old
Wow.
greats, the Rat Pack, Sinatra, Dean Martin, all of
Wow.
those, and beautiful, beautiful music he's bringing back to life. But we were talking about the Rat Pack, and they, at that time they looked like they had it all. The top of their game, best friends, this, that, etc. But every single one of them had a tumultuous life, that, things that they were dealing with and issues, and many of them died young because of it. And as we forget, we see people up in lights, or people that you think are rich that live around the corner, they've got it all. You don't know what they've got. They've got troubles and battling as well. So, stop assuming, right?
Exactly. Peace is within ourselves.
Yes.
You can't find peace outside of ourselves.
No. Can't be purchased. I don't care how rich you are.
Right.
It has to be earned, and the earning that peace is doing the work, isn't it?
Right. Exactly.
So doing the work, going in,
meditating,
loving yourself. But,
right.
Meditation, not everybody can kind of just, be, I did actually have a wonderful gentleman on who's saying you need to meditate in the chaos. He actually takes people into Times Square to learn how to meditate. He says, be the mountain, be the peace amongst the chaos. Exactly. And I think that's the thing is meditating and finding your peace, but being able to find that tranquility in any situation.
Yeah, that's the key. Absolutely.
So what would you say people can do to do that? Is, how do they get into that space so they can all step into it?
What I do is when I'm in the middle of chaos, I think of something that was wonderful in my life, whether it be my grandchildren. I think of them laughing or something, and you just focus on that no matter what's going on. Focus on my breath. If I'm in a crowded place, I just focus on my breath. That's meditating.
Yes, exactly. And take it with you anywhere, right? It could be a song, right? It could be, you could switch off from all of the world and just listen to a song for a moment, and it resets you, doesn't it?
If we're alone, I turn on music and I dance in my kitchen, or I do something crazy so that I feel I'm uplifted, use that feeling of sadness. And I really don't like to feel that way. So I say, okay, I'm going to do something about it. I'm not a victim.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, if you're in a traffic jam, turn on the music and start singing and get stuck gyrating in the car, and
and sometimes you don't feel like it.
Yeah.
But do it anyway.
Exactly. Who cares about who's looking at you? They're going to look at you and they're going to smile. They're probably going to turn on their radio, and they're probably going to start bursting out into song as well, right?
That's right. That's right.
Why do we worry so much about what the next person's thinking?
We want to be loved. We want to make sure that, I don't know. I really don't know the answer. I'm guilty of that too. I'm worried, what are they thinking if I say this or that? But in reality, it's really how we love ourselves. If we feel insignificant, everyone else will think we're insignificant too. So we just have to, it really doesn't matter what they think of us, as long as we love ourselves and we're doing the right thing. We're not hurting anybody.
Right. Yeah.
Uplifting the planet. Right.
Yeah, because a narcissist will think, and a psychopath will think they're doing the right thing because they are for them.
That's
right.
For the good of all concerned, I would say.
Yes.
It's uplifting the planet. Right. Raising the vibration of the planet.
It's about, we need to be a little selfish now and again, because if we don't become self-caring, again, we're going to deplete. And that's when your vibration is so low, you're going to be open up to other things that you don't want. So we really do need to know what our triggers are, don't we? Those times where sadness or overwhelming or depression or anything else is, stress is going to come in. And if you've taken yourself into a meditation that works for you, sometimes it might be just shutting off the world and being completely still in silence, and sometimes putting on that music and dancing. But pay attention to it. Don't ignore it, because it's not going to go away.
It's almost as important as eating or drinking water. You need to self-love, spend that quiet time. You can't give anyone what you don't have. So if you're depleted, you can't help anybody else.
Now, talking to people, quote, on the other side who have ascended, have you met anybody from the other side that surprised you?
W Dyer.
Right, yes. That's a pretty nice one to be chosen.
I've been I'm a psychic medium, and I'm booked for 2 years ahead of time.
Wow. right.
So nothing surprises me, but when Wayne Dyer came through, I was feeling insignificant at the time, and that's when I heard him for the first time. I said, I'm insignificant, I'm insignificant. And then I heard his voice for the first time saying, get out of your own way. And don't
Yes.
we need to get out of our own way?
Oh,
And I said,
yes.
is that you? If that's you, you have to give me a without a doubt sign to confirm that it's really you. And I was walking to the hotel room. I was at an event. They were paying tribute to him, and I was walking to the room. And right after that, I said, how may I serve? And he said, you're already serving. I said, how may I serve more? Went into the hotel room, and there was something very itchy in my shirt, and I reached in to grab it. And I reached in, and there was a sticker that somehow attached to my shirt. And on the sticker, it said W E. And I thought it meant Wayne, first letter, last letter.
Right.
And I felt him. He said, is that good enough? I said, that's wonderful. Little did I know it was so much more than that. It's the we
Yes.
consciousness that eventually he started to relate to me along with my we guides. He joined forces with a group of beings called my we guides.
Mm-hmm.
Included St. Francis, the angels, ascended masters, and him. And it would be hard to differentiate him from everyone else when they came through with the messages. But to confirm that it was truly him, he relayed so many messages to his family over 3 times a week. I was on the phone with one of them. Call Serena now. Call Sage now. It would be at 6 o'clock in the morning when something significant was going on. And I'd say, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. And he'd say, call her now. And something significant was
Yeah.
going on. So without a doubt, it was him. And when he was coming through with the we guys, then I realized it truly was
Yeah.
Wayne Dyer.
Mm-hmm.
But he's coming through to many people, not just to Karen Noe.
Right.
And that's what I
Yes.
want. Right.
Yes. He goes through to my friend as well.
Right.
And that's the thing. The more people that are up in that energy, right,
Yeah.
with that messaging, the more that work can continue on. So he's still that
He's on the
teacher
same,
out there.
we're on the same vibration with
Yeah.
him, and we
Yeah.
could feel that.
Yes. And I used to, I probably still could. It's just I think my energy's being channeled elsewhere now. But
Mm-hmm.
I used to play quote with dead people when I was young. And why can't anybody else see them? Can't you see Jane here? And I didn't know the difference. It to me. In my spiritual realm, I was touching them and playing with them. But it's how come nobody else could? And then, of course, it was something I had to kind of keep quiet for a long, long time because it was certainly not accepted.
Right.
But it's when a message comes across from somebody, I have to relay it. And it's also when somebody's passed over, there's generally a message I get given. I said it's a little less because I think my energy is being diverted elsewhere at the present moment. But it's nothing to be afraid of, is it? You're
Oh,
just
no.
channeling. You just opened up.
Absolutely.
You've turned the knob to that frequency, and you're catching what's on that particular channel.
Right. And it always brings peace to the family.
Yes.
We're not bothering them, those on the other side. If we were there, wouldn't we want our family to know that we were okay?
Yeah.
Because a lot of
Yes.
times people say, are we bothering them? No.
No. They want to communicate there, and sometimes it's not the words. It's not necessarily going through. You're going to get a feeling of someone. Oof. You can just feel their presence there, and that's just that whisper of love. That kiss of love.
People expect to hear an audible voice or to see an apparition of their loved ones, but they're not in a physical body. So
Right.
they don't come
Exactly.
through that way. That not
Yes.
necessarily. They may come through in a dream, or
Yeah.
they may come through it. But for the most part, they come as a thought, as a feeling.
Yeah.
And they
Yes.
download information into our consciousness so
Yes.
we can understand what they're saying to us.
Mm-hmm. I've interviewed an awful lot of people that work with the other side, and one of them was quite extraordinary. She was given recipes from people that had
Oh,
crossed over, and then she would take the ingredients that she was given and make them. And said, sometimes some of these ingredients, how the hell can they ever go together? And she
wow.
started a cooking show using people that had crossed over. And she also
Goodness.
does chakra foods and things, and it was really interesting, very interesting.
Wow.
And again, I interviewed an awful lot of people. I think if you're in the spiritual realm, you're going to be in the connective realm of the other side, because you're not caught in body barrier. You're in that spiritual realm, and anybody can come and go because you're open to it, and it's been open to it, to that frequency.
They could
But
be wherever they want to be with a thought,
yeah,
with energy. They
I
don't have the
had
physical body that limits them.
I had Mark Antony on, a psychic lawyer, on the other day,
Mhm.
and he was saying, because he does this on TV, and he was saying there was one person that was mad at him because a certain person didn't come through with the message she wanted, and he's saying, this is not how
Can't
it works, you
guarantee.
know.
No, you can't guarantee who. It's like if you invite someone for dinner and they can't come. It's if
Hmm.
they're there, they're there. If they're not, you can't make them come.
Right. Yes, and it's and they'll come with that message when they want. But
Exactly.
apparently,
When
this
you least
particular woman got
expect
really
it.
pissed at him, and he said, "This doesn't work that way." Um, and you know, for some people, of course, they may have had their time here, and they just literally do ascend onto a higher dimension out of reach. It all
Right.
depends. Uh,
Right.
I have a photograph here of my mum in front of me. I've got my daughter's art, which is so colorful and vibrant. So I'm always surrounded by pictures and love and everything. You know, it's constantly in my eye view, which is always feeding me, because color feeds me a
Mhm.
great deal. But this is the last picture taken of my mum before she passed, you know, before she got really, really sick and downhill. And it's just her old frail self, because she died at 95. But her eyes in this picture are not looking at me, they're going right into me.
Wow.
These eyes are just, she's seeing me on that soul level. Every time I look at it, I know she's looking at me with such love, and it's so beautiful. And I think that's sometimes, you know, good. A lot of, well, it's so morbid to keep pictures around. No, you're keeping the conversation going. I turn around and have conversations with people that have passed over all the time, you know, the pictures, etc. It's comforting for you, but it's also, you never know when you're going to get an answer back.
Yeah, and if you're not getting an answer, say, give me a sign to let me know you're listening.
Yes,
And then be
yes.
patient and wait, and the sign will come when you least expect it.
And in the least expected way, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's and if you're not open to receive, you're not going to understand the messages that are coming to you. When you're
Right.
open to receive, you could meet somebody in the supermarket that just says a statement, and you realize that's your mom or your
That's
dad or
it.
somebody you love,
Right.
is, you know.
And they're saying exactly what you need to hear at that time.
Exactly. Exactly. But that's, whether you're trying to communicate with anyone that's passed over, that goes with everything, isn't it? If you're needing to know something, universe, I need to know. I'm trying to work this out. I need to understand this, or I need to know. You know, please
Mm,
show me a sign. And then again, get out of your way and go out and participate. There'll always be somebody with that answer for you.
absolutely. It will happen. And
Hmm.
just you have to be open. You know, that signs come in many ways, whether it be sometimes they come through as a bird, a ladybug, a butterfly,
Mm,
a dragonfly to let you know they're with you.
yeah,
But it will do something that it normally wouldn't do. Maybe the electricity will go on and off. Maybe
yeah,
you'll smell your mother's perfume or cigar smoke from your
uh-huh,
uncle or
yeah,
whatever it is. The perfect song will come on the radio when you least expect it. There's so many ways.
yes,
Just pay
yes,
attention.
yes. And I think this is, you know, we're so busy
Mm,
chasing happiness and chasing peace, and that we don't realize, just be still.
yes,
Just be still. Be silent, be still, be present, be in the now. And
exactly.
what you are seeking is all right here, isn't it?
Absolutely. It always is.
Hmm. Yeah. And we've just got to be tuned in, which is not always easy for certain people. But, you know, there again comes the
Hmm.
choice to be. Everything, you can't choose what necessarily happens to you in life, because that's part of life. It's part of the reason why you're here on your journey, is to learn, you know, your strength, your courage, your purpose, your beautiful instrument, what you're here to contribute, what's your service. This is the journey of life, into that self-discovery. But how we do it, whether it's a rocky path or a smooth one, a lot to do is how we choose to rise up to that energy and allow it to help us forward. So, not just this book, how can people, what are your other books as well? So, and tell us a little bit something about each one of them, because I'd like
Okay.
to encourage people to get all of your books.
My first book is called just The Rainbow Follows the Storm, How to Connect with Angels and Deceased Loved Ones. That's when I first began on the spiritual path. And I teach people how to connect with their angels and deceased loved ones. The second book was called Through the Eyes of Another. It's basically about, after doing readings for so many years, and as I said before, I'm booked for years ahead of time, so I've literally, I don't even know how many readings I have done, but many times when the loved ones come through, they go through a life review where they're able to see how they affected each person through that person's eyes. Good, bad, or indifferent. So oftentimes when they come through, they say they should have, could have, would have. I should have apologized. I should have asked for forgiveness. I should have forgiven someone else. I should have loved myself with the respect that I deserve. And now it's too late. So in that book, I talk about, why would you want to wait until it's too late?
Yeah.
See through each person's eyes, including your own eyes right now, and create peace in your life right now. Then the next book was Your Life After Their Death. And that book is basically because our deceased loved ones truly are okay. That book deals with how the living loved ones can heal after the loss of a loved one. It teaches them how to connect with their deceased loved ones, how to raise their vibration, to be more on par with that, practicing techniques such as Ho'oponopono and, things to help them to heal. Emotional freedom technique, tapping, all of that. And then finally, the We Consciousness, 33 Profound Truths for Inner and Outer Peace, was after my connection with W Dyer. And trying to teach people how to create inner and outer peace, which is so important at this time in life. On the planet. And we all can do it. We all can raise the vibration of the planet. It begins with ourselves.
Oh boy, does it. Oh boy, does it. It's so utterly necessary. We are the problem, but we're also the solution. We're never given more than what we can cope with. We undersell ourselves. We don't realize how strong, how courageous, how creative, how beautiful we are, and that when we step into the divine love and that beautiful cosmic energy, how infinite we are and how much we can really do. And we know that we're in a room with people that are happy and good vibrations, how everything is elevated. Right? Everybody's feeling happy and it's contagious. And you also know when you get somebody that's miserable, how it pulls you down.
Well, there's techniques to protect yourself with that.
Yes, you need those techniques. And it's also choose your friends wisely, choose your family wisely. If you have to say, I'm sorry, I can't see you for a while until you're strong enough to be in their presence and not be pulled down, then that's what you have to do. But please understand, people that are listening here today, if you want to heal the planet, and all the hate and all the upset and all the, the droughts and the fires and everything else that's happening here on this planet, you need to rise up. You need to step into your higher vibration. Not only will it bring peace to you, it will bring peaceful purpose to your life, and it will serve each other. Because the more we're resonating on this frequency, the more we're going to serve our planet. It's not about extinguishing this planet and going off to another one, folks. That's just the movies, right? We're not going to be able to do that. So it's respect the gift you have here right now, and the gift of self, the gift of the planet, the gift of the universe, because we're all working together. So really important, and really important that if you don't know how to do it, get these books. Somebody who can guide you along the way. Get these books, and there will be something in those books that go aha moment. Right? This is it for me. This is I've just switched channels and I've got it, and that's what it's there for. So please reach out and get
the intention. That's all. We have to set the intention of rising above, feeling better.
Yes, and also to realize that our inner peace is our responsibility, nobody else's, and also that it's not going to happen just by wishful thinking. You really have to do some work.
Absolutely.
You have to be willing to take the journey to it and through the bramble bushes. But, once you get to that other side, what's there is beyond your imagination. It's so beautiful. So get there. Be willing to take the journey. How do people get the books? How do they find you? Of course, you've got a 2-year waiting list, but if they want to be in the 3rd year, how do they book?
I'm not taking any new clients because the ones who come to see me want to come back, but they can get the books. My books you could either get on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or any bookstore. Or you could go to my website at KarenNoe.com. I'll spell that. That's KarenNoe.com. And then you could purchase the books that way.
Excellent. Give the gift of the book, folks. Really, I mean, it's when you read something, that changes your life, pass it on. Let other people have that experience. If you know somebody who's going through a hard time in life, give them one of the books, give them all of the books, because that is showing somebody you love them enough to hand them over the tools that are going to help them on their path. And realize that this boundary between being an earth and being a cosmic being, we are all one. We're just in this particular vessel to have a beautiful human experience. And if you understand that human experience, that gift of touch, of hug, of taste, of being able to see things, that it's actually a beautiful divine gift you were given. And you are here to step into love in this lifetime. If you don't, you're going to come back and do it all again. So you may as well learn right now and rise up so that you can go into a higher dimension or come back even as a higher dimensional being, right?
Perfectly said, yes.
So KarenNoe.com, Amazon, the books would just be under Karen Noe.
You could put any of the book titles, but if you don't know the titles, yes, just put Karen Noe and it'll list all the books.
Excellent. Get the books and share this show with other people, because the peace that you're looking for resides within. It's not going to be exterior. You have to go in and find it. And when you learn to love yourself, step into service, step into beingness, then you're going to step into your peace, and then you're going to be a contributor to the world, and you're going to realize all the beautiful love. Do not feed what you don't want. Feed what you do want. And no, that is not ignoring what's going on in the world. It's just choosing not to feed that, but to feed the solution, the possibilities. And that's what will make us grow. Thank you so much for being with us here today, Karen.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a wonderful day.
You too, my dear. And to everyone else, remember, it resides within you. For more wonderful shows like this, please go to selfdiscoveryradio.com, podcasts, and see our lineup. And if you wish to support us, we have a funded button. Please stay tuned for our next show.